Good afternoon, traders, ladies and gentlemen, market participants, all of you. We are coming to you a little bit before the market closes. It is 12:54 and a few seconds on the West Coast. So we've got just over 5 minutes before the U.S. regular session closes. Due to some time constraints today, I have to get my video started a little bit early, so I hope this works for you. I figured maybe a little bit of live action would be a nice way to kind of change things up, and in addition to accommodating my schedule. So anyway, this is what I'm looking at as far as the S&P futures are concerned right now. What we've got is a market that's, for all intents and purposes, kind of chopped back and forth today. Now, today was the day that Trump announced whether or not we were going to continue with the Iran nuclear deal, and he basically said we are no longer going to be part of that. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen from here, but he announced that at right about here, and you can see the market did go higher, then it kind of came down, and then it went lower, came back up again, and now it's just getting bought into the close. So I know Saudi Arabia came out and talked about how they were in favor of us ceasing to be involved in the Iran nuclear deal, and of course Israel is very much in favor of us not being involved. So at this point, it looks like, for all intents and purposes, that the market is in favor of the decision to exit. Now, crude oil had a little bit of an issue with this, and let me get that chart of oil up here. Well, let me see here. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. I was looking at another stock, and I don't want to put that one up here. It was GoGo, which is getting trounced today. I'm not involved in it, but it lost almost 50% of its value. Just, another disaster in the market. Anyway, getting back to matters at hand here, this is CL/CL. That's the crude oil futures. And you can see where right here it was said that it looked like we were actually going to not back out of the deal. There was a rumor that was spread about, a third of the day through the trading day of crude oil that said that it looked as if we weren't going to back out of the Iran deal. But as we know now, we did. So false news causing a false drop in the crude oil market, which immediately got bought up and really went higher into the close. So, I mean, this is the type of thing that happens in the financial markets. That's why markets that are affected by a binary event, a known binary event, should really be avoided prior to the release of the information. Now, I don't trade. I used to trade crude oil a lot, but ever since it kind of lost all of its volatility, its oomph, as it were, I've kind of avoided it. So, right now, trading the indexes, trading some stocks. Amazon. Speaking of stocks, Amazon's been down all day today. It's down about $9.40 here today. Just, I don't know, probably some profit taking. Had a really nice day yesterday. Closed just above $1,600 a share, if you recall. Apple has been trading close to the flat line all day, and now going into the close, it's up about 74 cents. So another up day for Apple, getting closer and closer to that $1 trillion market cap, to be the very first company ever that has had that metric associated with it. Volatility has been green most of the day, but I do believe that it's gone red here. Let's take a quick look at that, and it looks like it did go red. It's down a nickel. So the VIX is trading at 1472 here. which another down day in the VIX. We are slowly but surely trudging to the downside further and further, even with situations in the market that still haven't been completely worked out. Oftentimes you will see that the VIX is the first market that begins telegraphing a calming or a change, if you will, in the energy of the market. And you can see how, this it hasn't collapsed, but it's taken a definitive turn to the downside. And we did have I think this was a bad tick. In other words, it was a false reading, which is, this little tail on this candle that dropped below the 200-day moving average. And that was the closing bell for the day. So let's just real quick take a look at the S&P and see where we're at here. But anyway, just to wrap things up with the VIX. So the VIX is going ever lower, tells me that the market's going to begin going higher, and we did go higher into the close, folks. We went a lot higher into the close. We never did make it back up into value, at least for a close in value of any one candle. We had one candle that popped higher. That was when crude oil dropped. The rumor that we were going to stay in the Iran deal, the market popped higher, and then it dropped. And then closed below value area low of the value area. And we never really did make it back there. This is the closing candle of the regular session, and it looks like, let's take a look here. So the S&P, well, it's still closing. It's down about a half a point, the S&P. The Russell's up about 7.5 points. Russell's been really strong the last couple of days. So let's take a look at the Dow and the NASDAQ as far as their closes. Looks like the Dow's going to close green, up just under 4 points. And the NASDAQ is going to also close green, up about just over 1.5 points. So in the great scheme of things, like I said, today was kind of a back and forth, choppy day, but there was an unknown binary, there was a known yet unknown binary event associated with the market. So we had this choppity type action. But the fact that we did recover nicely into the close after dropping to a low of the day about an hour and a half before the market closed is actually a sign of a market that's getting stronger. And a VIX that closed, did the VIX actually close in the red? Let's take a look there. Yes, the VIX actually went lower. The VIX closed at 1465. That is a very low print for the VIX. So we've got a mark. Now this is the final 15 right here. So we're trading a little bit lower. There's 15 minutes where the cash markets actually kind of, the cash markets is a 15-minute period where certain issues still trade. And I have attempted to get a definitive answer as to why it is that you can still trade options in some instruments during this period of time, not just futures, but actually ETFs and ETF. Like you can trade options in the DIA, the SPY, the VIX, the VIX, the VXX, the UVXY, the SVXY, the IWM, the the TBT, the TLT. A lot of the index and commodities based ETFs and ETNs the options can be traded in this final 15. Predominantly, it's for the index cash instruments like the SPX and the NDX, which are the S&P and the NASDAQ cash markets. And there's the DJX, and then there's the, I don't think it's the, I can't remember what the symbol is for the Russell. I don't trade it, so I guess in the great scheme of things, doesn't really matter. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, SPX, NDX, and DJX are the three big index, Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P that can be traded in the final 15. The options on them. So at any rate, back and forth, sideways, kind of choppy day. Closed for all intents and purposes on its high. Not on, well, went higher into the closed and closed higher in this final stretch, based on the movement associated in that final stretch. The high of the day was obviously up here, but that was based upon some false rumors. So yes, it was the high of the day. There's no disputing that. But the fact that we did close basically above this high right here constitutes a very bullish bit of price action for today's move. So I'm going to take that and run with it a little bit and say I think we're going to go higher tomorrow. Yes, I see we're moving lower in the final 15, which again, yes, it counts. But since the regular session's closed, there's a little less emphasis on it as it relates to the overall sentiment associated with the move. It's more of a settlement period of time, giving the final bit of time for positions to be wound down by large institutions and fund managers. So that's that. So as far as let's talk about FANG. Facebook ended the day higher, 95 cents higher. Google closed 87 cents lower. We had Apple. Apple closed higher. I just don't know how much higher. 89 cents higher. Amazon closed $7.75 lower, which is actually quite a bit off of its lows. It was down about $12 earlier. So that could go a little higher tomorrow. And then we got Netflix, which was down for a bit of time today. And it did close 63 cents higher today. And then Nvidia has really come on strong here lately. Let's take a real quick look at Nvidia. Now Nvidia, I believe, had a $275 price target on it. And yeah, you can see how this thing has really taken off over the last 4 sessions. That's beginning to look a little on the parabolic side. We may have gotten a new all-time high today. Yeah, I think we may have. I think we may have gotten a new all-time closing high in Nvidia today. Let's see, the close was 250.40, and the close here was 250.48. So not quite, missed it by that much. 8 cents. 8 cents away from a new all-time closing high in Nvidia. Very bullish. So we're starting to get stocks that are getting close to their all-time closing highs. That happened in Amazon yesterday, if you recall. So, and I think Apple closing higher today also constitutes a new all-time closing high in Apple. Let's take a look at that real quick, and then we'll call it a review. Let's see. How in the world did that happen? Somehow or another, I clicked on soybean futures. That's interesting. Yeah, definitely a new all-time high today. All right, we actually had a new all-time high yesterday. We've had new all-time highs over the last 3 sessions in Apple now. So Apple is on, as I said, $1 trillion capitalization watch. It's at like 910 billion at this point. But right now, boy, so new all-time highs in Apple, Amazon yesterday, not today, and Nvidia, darn close, missed it by that much. And let's see, did Facebook possibly... Facebook may have gotten a new all-time high as well. Let's see here. No, never mind. No, I don't follow... Oh, gosh. I'm way off on that one. But it is trading above the 200-day moving average. So, at any rate, like I said, a little bit of some time restrictions in my schedule today. Coming to you a little earlier than normal, but still trying to provide some value associated with what I'm looking at, what I was seeing in the market today. And we just, we ended up having a relatively bullish day in the great scheme of things, especially given the unknown binary event. Well, it was a known binary event with an unknown outcome. So kind of a mixed bag of sorts. And let me just click on that to get that out of the way. There we go. So at this point, same stuff. We'll be watching the market in the extended session. We'll see how it plays out overnight. We never did, as I said, get back up into value after that one pop into value on that false rumor. But we did have a very negative Ichimoku cloud today. So that could have very easily kept us kind of, I guess I would call it subdued in the great scheme of things. And you can see how the cloud was to some degree conformed to, but overall, nice way to end the day. I think we do end up going higher tomorrow at this point. And my prognosis in yesterday's video where I thought we would go higher, yeah, well, sort of kind of came to fruition, but boy, we sure took the long way there and didn't do so with any real definition. But a move higher is a move higher, no matter how you slice it. All right, folks, trade safe. Trade what you see if you choose to trade at all. Good night and good trading.